So I'm sure you've seen this popping up online, maybe in your feed, maybe a friend sent it to you. It's a big story, a really juicy claim promising that there's an extra, officially approved Social Security payment on its way. And look, that sounds like amazing news, right? I mean, especially for anyone on a fixed income, an extra check could be a game changer. But here's the thing, is it for real? Is this a genuine helping hand for retirees, or is it something else? That's what we're going to do today. We are going to put on our detective hats, grab our magnifying glasses, and we are going to break this claim down piece by piece. The goal here isn't just to repeat what the story says. Oh no. It's to really dig in, uncover the truth, and give you the tools you need to tell the difference between actual help and a really, really clever trap. Okay, let's just dive right into the heart of it. The source video that's making the rounds, it makes a very, very bold claim. It poses this one central question, the one that gets everybody to stop scrolling. Did Congress actually approve a brand new extra payment for Social Security recipients? I mean, this is the entire hook. It's the foundation that the whole story is built on. And you know the source material, it confidently says yes. It claims to have the answer. But we're going to take a much, much closer look at the evidence they present, or maybe more importantly, the evidence they don't present. And here it is, the exact wording they use. Let's read it carefully. Quote, "An extra payment is now officially on the way. Lawmakers have signed off on new legislation." Now, you have to pay attention to the language here. It is so important. Words like officially and signed off. They weren't chosen by accident. Not at all. They are designed to sound completely authoritative, like it's a done deal, something you can trust. It creates this powerful impression that everything is final. But as we're about to find out, these kinds of super strong, completely unsupported claims, well, that's often the very first red flag that something isn't quite right. So, keeping that big official-sounding quote in mind, let's start our investigation. We're going to really break down what the source is calling the official claim. We need to look at all the little details of this supposed payment. You know, what kind of money are we even talking about here? How is it structured? And probably the most important question of all, do these details actually hold up when you look at them closely? Let's find out. Okay, so the source is really specific. They call this a supplemental payment. Now, why is that word so important? Well, think about it. Psychologically, it's a really powerful tool. It's not just a small cost of living adjustment. No, it frames this money as a special one-time bonus. It feels exclusive. It creates the sense of a limited time opportunity, something you absolutely do not want to miss out on. And that can be an incredibly effective way to get people to let their guard down, to stop asking hard questions and just pay very, very close attention. So, the picture the source paints here is just, well, it's perfect, isn't it? It's a targeted bill to help with economic pressure. Check. It's an addition to your regular benefits, not a replacement. Double check. It won't reduce your normal monthly check at all. Perfect. And it's all designed for immediate near-term relief. It literally checks every single box of what someone who is struggling financially would dream of hearing. And that is a really, really crucial point because, as we all know, when something sounds a little too perfect, a little too good to be true, it almost always is. These features aren't just details. They're designed to be completely irresistible. All right, let's see how they keep building this narrative. Now, we're going to look at the emotional core of this whole claim. The source spends a lot of time and energy talking about the why. You know, the very real, very painful financial struggles that so many seniors are facing every single day. And this is a classic tactic, by the way. You identify a real painful problem that people connect with, and then you present your simple, too-good-to-be-true solution. It is all about tapping into genuine, real-world anxiety to make a fake promise seem much more believable. The source uses this phrase, and it's a powerful one, a difficult squeeze on retirees. And you know what? It works because it's absolutely true for so many people. This isn't just about some abstract idea of inflation, it's about the specific day in day out financial pressure on folks living on fixed incomes. When your income stays the same, but the cost of absolutely everything else just keeps going up and up and up, that foundation you rely on starts to feel pretty shaky. And that feeling, that vulnerability, that is exactly what misinformation and bad actors prey on. And this slide right here, this just brilliantly illustrates all the parts of that squeeze. I mean, the source paints a pretty bleak picture, but for a lot of people, it is painfully realistic. Groceries more expensive. We all see it at the checkout counter. Rent and property taxes climbing. Prescription meds more expensive. Utilities, insurance, it all just keeps going up. It's a perfect storm of economic pressure. Every single point on this list is a real, genuine concern. And by detailing these real-world problems so accurately, the source builds up credibility. It builds empathy. And it's right in the middle of that climate of anxiety that the promise of a magical extra payment can be so incredibly seductive. Okay, so this leads us right into the next phase of the pitch. If this magical payment is supposed to solve all these problems, the next logical question is, who is it for? Is it for me? The source, of course, provides a nice broad list of eligible groups. But as we're going to see, the real target audience here isn't just a list of categories. It's anyone out there who's feeling financially vulnerable and might be tempted by the promise of easy money. The source claims the whole guiding principle here is to reach the people who depend most heavily on Social Security. The stated goal, they say, is inclusion, not exclusion. Now, you have to admit, that's a clever tactic. It's very smart. By making it seem like pretty much everyone who gets Social Security is eligible, they cast the widest possible net. It makes more people feel like the story is personally relevant to them, which is absolutely key if you want them to keep watching a video, or more importantly, to click on a link. And here's the list of specific groups the source mentions. Traditional retirees, folks on disability, SSDI, families receiving survivor benefits, and SSI recipients. You notice anything about that list? These are all groups that by definition rely heavily on their monthly benefits to get by. And they are also, very unfortunately, the exact same groups that are most frequently and most aggressively targeted by financial scams. This list isn't really about eligibility. It's a roadmap of who is considered most vulnerable and most likely to be receptive to a message of hope. So now that we've covered the what, the why, and the who, let's take a look at the how. The source lays out a whole process for how this money would supposedly get from the government into your bank account. And this part is absolutely critical to the whole story because it's designed to make the whole thing seem as simple, as official, and as legitimate as possible. It's all about building this illusion of credibility brick by brick. The process they lay out is just incredibly simple. Step 1, no new application required. Step 2, it uses the existing trusted Social Security payment systems. And Step 3, it's delivered automatically right to you using your usual method. Now, that right there, that should set off some major alarm bells. No new application required. Think about that. Legitimate government programs almost always have some kind of procedure, some verification steps to prevent fraud. A no-questions-asked payment from the government is almost certainly a total fantasy. And this slide right here, this basically summarizes the whole sales pitch behind the process. The message from the source is crystal clear. This is going to be easy. You don't have to lift a finger. Just sit back and wait for the money to show up. This is a classic scam tactic. By making the whole process seem effortless, by promising to avoid confusing paperwork or administrative delays, they're hoping to just lull you into a false sense of security. They want you to stop thinking critically. They want you to trust the process, not question it. All right, We've heard all the promises. We've seen the emotional appeals, the claims of this easy, automatic process that's going to solve our problems. But now we've reached the moment of truth. It all comes down to the two most practical, most important questions that anyone watching would have. How much money are we actually talking about here? And when is it coming? This, my friends, is where the entire story just begins to completely unravel. And there it is, the catch, the big reveal. After all that hype, all the official-sounding language, all the promises, the source finally admits it. They have no idea how much the payment will be or when it will arrive. They'll give you some vague excuses about final administrative details being worked out. But why? It's simple. Because the payment isn't real. It's a phantom. It's a carrot that they're dangling just to keep you engaged. The story builds this incredible case full of hope. But it deliberately leaves out the only two facts that would actually make it real, because those facts simply don't exist. And that right there brings us to the real point of this entire explainer. After building up all this false hope based on literally zero concrete evidence, the source video does something absolutely fascinating. It pivots and it starts giving a warning about scams. But here's the crazy twist. The vague, hope-filled story that they just spent 10 minutes telling you, that is the first step of the scam. It's designed to create the exact confusion that real scammers can then exploit. Let's just look at this quote again because it's incredible. Dishonest individuals often try to take advantage of confusion and hope. This is a classic case of the fox guarding the henhouse. The source itself is the one spreading the news that creates the confusion and the hope in the first place. And then it has the nerve to position itself as the one who's going to protect you from it. It's a really clever, really manipulative trick to make the source itself seem more trustworthy. So then the source gives you this list of red flags to watch out for. And honestly, it's a good list. These are absolutely things you should be aware of. But the irony is just too much. The source video itself is a perfect example of some of these very tactics. It uses urgent, hopeful language. It makes a promise that is way too good to be true. The entire thing is designed to get you to lower your guard so that when the next step of the scam comes, a phone call, an email asking for your info, you're already primed and ready to believe it. This right here, this is the whole ball game. This is the single most important piece of advice to protect yourself, your family, and your finances. If you want to know anything at all about your Social Security benefits, you must go directly to the official source, the Social Security Administration. Period. Don't trust viral videos. Don't trust random emails or unexpected phone calls. Go to ssa.gov, log into your own secure account, or call their official verified phone number. It is the only way to be absolutely certain you are getting real, accurate information. So, after all of that, what have we really learned today? Well, we've taken apart a very common, very powerful type of misinformation. We've seen that scammers are clever and they will absolutely use your real-world hopes and your real-world fears against you. But we've also learned that you have the power to protect yourself. By thinking critically, by always asking where's the evidence, by trusting only official sources, and maybe most importantly, by sharing this knowledge with the people you care about, you can stay one step ahead. It really all comes down to asking this final question for any financial news you see: what really makes it trustworthy? Thanks for joining us.